Hey everyone, Karen the Warp Spinster here. Welcome to my channel. And thank you for spending some time with me today. Last week we did this leaf for Jack and the Beanstalk. And my apologies to those of you who were privy to the 5-minute video. The video that I uploaded was 39 minutes long. Somewhere between iMovie exporting and YouTube uploading, it all fell apart. So when I first got the notice, and I did the same thing that I always do. When I first got the notices, they were putting sealer on my newly refinished hardwood floors, and they were between me and my computer. So I had to wait until that was dry so I could go in and deal with that. And then I saw that the video I uploaded was 39 minutes. It did it. Went back to the other side of the house. They put on another coat of sealer just as I get messages that, again, it's only 5 minutes long. So I fiddled with it and got it up eventually, but I apologize for that. It was, anyway, that's over. Reviews on this were kind of mixed, which is okay. It's not particularly unusual. Comments that the veins maybe didn't look right, and I think that's, I think I agree with that actually, because these, because I did the whole turning thing, I did them backwards. Have I mentioned that I have that special relationship problem? So I think if the veins had been going that way, it would have been better. Some were unsure about this strip in the middle for the stem. I'm kind of unsure about it too, which is why it's still in the state it was at the end of last week. So, and my thanks to Kathy and other commenters who agreed, saying that you don't have to worry about it looking like a real bean leaf because, first of all, this is a quilt, and secondly, it's magic beans, and so who knows what they look like. So the bean pod is what I want to work on today. I was going to do 3 little pigs, and I had something in mind. Not sure how I feel about it. So I am wanting to do some more with the Jack and the Beanstalk. It will possibly be some kind of piece on its own. So I do want to have bean pods in it, and I got a couple of ideas for what they might look like and how we might make them. We'll see how it goes, as always. So to start off, I have sort of in my head something like we did with the leaf. In other words, having a curve up here and a curve down here and putting them together and then doing some kind of, I don't know, I'm doing a combination of a string bean and I don't know what other kind of beans. Soybeans, maybe, being from Iowa. So I'm envisioning the pod could be a different shape, and it could be different shapes at different times in its life cycle. So the first thing I want to do, and I'm doing black background, so I'll get some black and a couple of different colors. These are magic bean pods. They don't have to be green, right? So I will gather up some things, and it'll just be the standard curve thing that you've seen 100 times now. All right, I have a couple strips of black and some orange, which is now looking very much like Halloween, which actually is coming up. But I'm not a big Halloween fan, so they're the colors of my old high school that I graduated from 175 years ago. And some pink. So one side is going to be pink, one side is going to be orange, and if you're a print fan, hang tough. We'll get there. So first thing I'm going to do, I probably have plenty fabric here. I do want it to be, do I want it to be pretty long? Yeah, let's try it pretty long with a gentle curve. We like gentle curves, don't we? And let's do the orange one first. And this up here. Yeah, we'll make it pretty gentle. And I do want some at the side. So I am going to start it about here and cut a curve. That's a pretty even curve there, except at the end when I caught myself doing an even curve, which isn't necessarily what I wanted to do. So then I am going to just do the same old thing, mark where I'm going to start, etc., etc. Convex on top, go slowly, needle down, etc., etc. And I'll do the same thing with the other side. You've seen me do this before, so don't need to do that again, and I will be back with those. All right, this is looking decidedly leafy, but it's all right. That's this iteration. Now, here is where the prints come in, because we need some beans in here, right? So I have some different possibilities. This one already has the fusible on the back, so we can do some fun things with prints for the beans. We can make them fit pretty well with the bean, with the pod. We can vary it, or we can make it completely different, which is what I'm inclined to do, I have to admit. And they don't all have to be the same, so I could do one, say, with this green, and then with this print. I don't know, I'm not liking that so much. Changed my mind about that one. What do we think about this? What I will do is cut a few, actually half circles, because it is a pod that is opening up. It's splitting and is about to give up its beans. So let me cut a few circles to see what I like before I start backing things. This one, possibility. Let's see how that goes. All right, it is a very gloomy day here today, so I'm trying to adjust so that this black actually looks, well, I tried. So it actually looks like black instead of, all right, we'll go for that. Yes, focus on that. So here are two circles and one, there's nothing that says a bean has to be a perfect circle, right? And I want at least 3, but I do want an odd number. Maybe I want them to be larger, I don't know, but this is my thought. Now, if I were doing this again, I would make this more of an S curve. And my plan is that this will go together and then I'll do some stitching or something along here to give this string bean sort of effect, even though this isn't a string bean. So this would be kind of like the seam that runs through the middle of the string bean and then the little strings off the edges. So I might just recut this, cut it further up and make it more of a an S serpentine kind of curve. If I haven't, maybe I'll be doing that with the pink. I'll have to see which fabric I have more of. But that is the plan for this particular piece where we've got the... Now, I could, of course, do this, which is definitely an option for another one. Let's start out with this one over here. if I have more in some pods than others. Let me do a rough cut here. You know how I am about just improv cutting circles, which is why I have deduced that not all the beans have to be circles. So if we got a big one here that's getting pretty much ready to burst out of the pod here. And I think I like it more with more beans in it, don't you? Let's move this over maybe, have another one of these, do a smaller one to tuck in there. Sorry, I'm doing an awful lot of pondering and thinking out loud here. You may just be able to double or triple time me to get through this. It's just one of those days, you know. I've had strangers in my house every day for a week, and I'm ready to settle in. Okay, so actually that's not too bad with them completely laid out in the pod, is it? What if I have some, and that's gonna look strange if some are tucked under, and that's gonna make it look like a fish to me. As we have noted before, once you see something, you can't unsee it. All right. And I kind of want to make this less leaf-like and more pod-like. Maybe I don't need to make it more serpentine. Still looks an awful lot like a leaf, doesn't it? All right, I'm going to cut one of the others of these into more of a serpentine curve. See what that looks like. All right, that's more of a serpentine look. Not sure how I feel about it, to be honest with you, but it's what we've got, so we're going to go with it. It's supposed to look like it is holding some good-sized beans and is stretching to fit it. So, suppose I should organize my large beans accordingly. All right, now, I think I have decided that I want them all to be fully on display. So it's a cross section of the pod, sort of. In this magical world, the beans grow outside the pod or something. I don't know. We're going to really carry that whole magic thing to the ends of the earth. So I am going to sew these two pieces together, and then we'll decide what we want to do about the string. Maybe I want it to go all the way through. All right, I'm going to sew them together, and then we'll make that decision now. I set these off so that they're in the same order so I don't forget what I did. Oh, and by the way, when I cut that new curve, now I have a piece that I can use on a leaf somewhere. This is probably too narrow, but at least I've got this little bit of black and orange together. So that will go into my leftovers to be made into something pile. So now, do I want to, and I did put just the veriest bit of curve on this when I sewed it together. I don't know. I want the string to go all the way through. I kind of do. Some of this can be done at the quilting stage whenever I get to that. And this is an odd shaped block, but that's all right because I don't know what shape I'm going to want when I put it in the quilt. So I don't think that I want the string running through these, do I? I don't think I want that. I don't know. I just think I kind of don't. I think I want it underneath. And then, of course, I have to think about what color I'm going to use. And It's just going to be a stitch. I'm not going to run a bias thing through that, I don't think. Or a narrow strip, I mean. Yeah, that is kind of fun. I know you aren't all fans of having this, but does that make it look too much like a leaf though? It's got a vein going through there. I think it does. So I want something a little more subtle than that. I do not like that. All right. Sorry if you did. I don't. So then I'm going to do a stitch. I don't want it to be too coming at you. So I don't think white is right. But do I want to do, say, a purple? Black isn't going to show up over here, so that defeats the purpose of doing it. I think I might try a purple. Unless I don't want it subtle. I'm going to do a purple. We'll see how it looks. All right. These are my two possibilities. I had a purple that was darker than this, but that would be too subtle. It would get lost. And then one that was lighter than this, but that was too close to white. It's important to lay down individual threads because that tells you more than trying to look at the whole spool. This would tie in more with the pink. I think this one will be fine. I was afraid that there wasn't enough contrast against the black, but I think it'll be all right. Part of it is in the lighting, of course, and this has a sheen to it. This is a rayon. So, and I think the stitch that I'm going to use is my favorite railroad stitch. Oh, and then I'm going to have to think about how I'm going to applique those down as well. But first things first, I'm going to stitch my string through there, and then we'll be back and decide what we're going to do with the beans. A couple of things here. I was not expecting this bulk to cause a problem for my machine, which is supposed to be able to go through 9 layers of denim, but you know, we'll put that aside. I had a new needle, and the presser foot, I lessened the pressure on, but I should have given it a ramp up, and I didn't. So I actually did want one end of this to be thicker for a stem end, and I think I might even take it all the way out to here, and then it turns into this stitch. Ran into a little bit of problem here too, and I think I'll just fix that with, I think I can do that with some hand stitching there to fix that. In the meantime, I'll put my finger over it so it's not too distracting. Then we would put our beans in the pod. They might look a little bit like peas, but you know, it's all okay. That's what I'm saying. It's all okay. Slide that over, and then what do we want to do? It needs something, doesn't it? Something out here? Maybe something in here. Do we need some stitching in there, in the fibers of the pod? Do we? Do we not? Wonder what that would be like. Once we get the stitching on these, it will make a difference unless we do an invisible stitch. Oh, you know, that might be something I want to hand applique and pad underneath here. Oh, yeah, so I've got beans that kind of poof a little bit. That's an idea. I think I might want to do just some stitching within the pod here, a little bit curvy, not much, maybe roughly following the curve, because it needs a little something, don't you think? He's a little something something. Maybe this pink and orange were too close. Maybe I need something more orangey or bluesy or something over here, but something's missing. Let me try a little bit of stitching, maybe even just on one side. Let's go with this side and then try maybe a different color of being in there. All right, hope these colors don't blow out the camera here. Got an Alpha Lock set, we'll see how it goes. I just did a straight, plain old straight stitch. I just wanted a little texture and a little bit of color there. Not sure it's gonna make any difference, honestly, but we'll see. I was going to cut another circle, wasn't I? But let's put this one in just for the moment. And I don't know what circle I will do. It might be a, zoom out a little here, might be like a teal blue, might be another green. I don't know, just needs another little oomph, and maybe it needs an oomph here. So I will explore that a little bit and then we'll come back. I had planned to do another pod today, but I don't think so. I mean, a different pod, so we'll think about that next week. And I want to try, I think probably on this green one, I will do a hand applique one, or at least one that has the padding, even if I don't applique it down all the way, and see how that looks. Yeah, I'm not liking these two there for some reason or other, but I will play with that and come back. Here's my new plan. I've decided to go with just 2 different sizes and a couple of really big ones and then 3 smaller ones. So I've got an odd number. And what if one of them is coming out of the pod? Now I'm beginning to sound like pod people. They're coming to get you. I think I might like that. I can also hide that piece instead of trying to fix it. And I'm not hating that light color. These are just the templates for the circles, but I'm not hating that. Maybe, I'm sorry, those who like prints, maybe I don't want prints. What if I do, I don't know that I like that, I do like bright yellow. I haven't put the padding in yet, but I'm thinking after all this foofara and adding things, maybe I'm going to like it better just bold and simple. In fact, I think I might take out this stitching. I'll leave this in, will I? I'm not sure I'll even do that. I might take that out and then I'll do some padding and take out all of the extra stitching and let the quilting do it. I'm feeling more simple and bold today, I guess. My living room has been, I haven't been living in my living room for almost 2 years now, what with one thing and another on fixing up the house. And the carpet came up, floors refinished. I had the walls and the ceiling repainted. I had to do some patching after they replaced the sewer. Anyway, so when they were finally finished with the floors yesterday, the first thing I did was hang up quilts in my living room, because then, you know, I had my house back. And they were a couple of really bold, simple designs. One of them was Oxford comma, and one of them is Heddles. And I just liked that so much, I guess it brought me home again. So that maybe is what I'm looking to do here for this time. I can always do some embellishment later on once I get it all figured out with the leaves. And maybe I will try doing a black and white stripe in here. But first step is going to be taking out all this stitching. Through the magic of YouTube television, this is what I arrived at. I decided that I wanted some other color brought in, which will tie it in with the leaf piece. And I went with just 2 different sizes and popped in a little bit of a black and white in there because it's what I do. Here was another option to have mostly yellow, and that wasn't horrible, but it didn't seem to tie in as well with that leaf piece. So ultimately I did these. These are a little puffy, which is why it seems a little fluffy around it. So I'm pretty happy with that. Sorry we went the long way around to get here, and just deciding that simple and bold was what I was looking for all along. And now if we put this leaf piece next to this pod, then I think it ties in pretty well. So it has colors in common here, but the orange separates it a bit. And then the circles, notice there are 5 because there were 5 magic beans, were there not? At least the story I remember, there were 5. So I think we're on our way. Would the pot be going, it would be hanging down, wouldn't it? So it would be more like that. So it's going to be a bold, simple quilt. I think all of the line work that my eye wants to see, I think it will all be with the quilting. So that's where we stand at this point. Let me know what you think. If you, in fact, liked this better, if you think some other combination would be better, just as always, your general thoughts. I always like hearing from you. I appreciate your comments. Thank you to everyone. Next week, I do have another pod idea that we can try out. We'll see what happens. It's a long time between now and next week, right? Thanks so much for joining me on this sort of convoluted roundabout way to get to plain and simple. It's been fun to do, and I learned a lot, and I hope that you picked up maybe an idea or 2 in the process as well. So I hope to see you next week. In the meantime, be well, be safe, be happy, be quilting. Peace out.